All right, my man, I just got done chopping up the video today. I'm going to post it tonight. Wanted to give you a little preview of what we're doing here. There's so much junk out there, so many false expectations about what you really need to attract a high quality woman of God. The church is accurate on like the biblical pieces of it, but they're not helping us on the practical side for the most part. I'm not saying anything about your church. I'm not saying anything about my church. I'm saying the church in general, guys. You know what I'm trying to say. The Christianese circles in general, they're not super helpful when it comes to the practical side of what does it take to attract a godly, high quality Christian woman, right? Not somebody who they turned to Jesus last year and, are cleaning everything up. Somebody who has been in the faith a while, who is socially adept, who is feminine, all the things that me and my guys like in a woman, right? And the thing that my clients are looking for and are finding on a regular basis, it's that type of woman, right? That's what you guys are looking for. So we're going into depth in this video on the exact 5 things that you need. You really just need 5 things, aside from like basic human things like, brushing your teeth, having a job, like super basic stuff that humans should have. What else is there? We're going into that in this video. If you're a decent human being and then you add these 5 things as a man, I know it sounds oversimplified, but you will find the type of woman you're looking for. And sometimes she'll be the one that finds you because you become very magnetic to that type of woman. Okay, so if you're interested in that, if that's you, then you need to take this video seriously. It's not one of these things where you just listen to it kind of passively in the background. You're gonna want to really lock in and take some notes and listen, because if you are not having the type of success that you want to have in your dating life, you're missing one or more of these 5 things in some measure, right? You might have a little bit of all of them, but if you're not seeing the type of success you want in dating or in like long-term relationships after you start dating, then you're not going to be very high in all of these, guaranteed. So lock in, guys. Hope you enjoy, and see you soon. And we're up. Let's go. Everybody's here. I see some people still trying to get in, so I'm going to let them get in here and we'll get rolling, baby. Christopher in the house. Welcome, sir. Good morning, chat. It is not morning. Good morning, chat. Let's get this bread. Let us get this bread, my brothers. It is not morning, but we are Discord nerds, so we say good morning. We do what we want here. We are far too autistic to be limited to social norms. Social who? Absolutely not. Okay, let me get this thing rolling. Today, I want to hone in on the basics that are a short list of things that the ideal woman is looking for. It really is a short list, but it's very rare for her to find all of these things in high quantities. That's the issue. Is a lot of guys have some of these things, but not all in high quantities across the board. But if you have these 5 things, like 7, 8, 9 out of 10 across the board, you're gonna do really, really well. And I've been working on putting this together for a long time in different ways, watching my own success in dating and then watching my clients as well. And honestly, the girl I've been speaking to most recently is really demonstrating clearly that like it all does work and it's all possible. It's all come together for this session, and I'm excited to share these things with you guys and clear up some of the myths that we've all kind of addressed already in different courses that I have and one-on-one coaching and all these kinds of things, but really just call out a lot of the myths. So obviously, why are we talking about this? It's not that we're trying to we don't want to change our behavior to please a woman. That's not ever what we're doing. Now, if you're a husband, if you're in a committed relationship, definitely in a marriage, then yes, you're going to sacrifice yourself for her good. And that's different. What we're not going to do is modify how we live as single men so that we can catch the female gaze. We don't want to be doing that. However, you do need to know and have confidence in, hey, if I can work on these things as a man, it's going to make my life really easy when it comes to attracting the right type of woman. Now, do you still have to get exposure? Yeah, you still have to get exposure. If you work on all these things, but you never come across women, you never talk to girls, then yeah, you're in trouble. Okay. You do have to go talk to girls. You do have to be exposed to the eyeballs of the women for this to work. Okay. You can't stay in your basement and have this work for you. But if you are doing these things, and they're all, you're going to notice themes here. They're all overlaps that we've discussed in my coaching and in the courses and the Instagram content, the Substack, the YouTube, all of it. It all overlaps. But we're really reducing it down to 5 things. So you can just be like, this is my list. I'm just going to work on these things. And if I work on these things and fall in love with these things for their own sake, the ladies are just going to come to me pretty much. They're just going to show up as they need to in God's timing. Without further ado, we'll get into it. Obviously, a lot of us are frustrated with the current state of dating. That's not news to you guys at all. There's a lot of confusion about what women really want, and usually they don't even know themselves, which I know you guys have all experienced. Sometimes it's hard for a woman to know what she wants, much less articulate it. So first off, I want to talk about some false beliefs about attracting the Christian dream girl. False belief number 1, if I become financially stable, physically fit, and have good theology, Bible knowledge, and spiritual disciplines, the woman of my dreams will be attracted to me. That is not true. I think a lot of you guys already kind of know this or saw this coming, but that is not true. The woman, like, there will be women that are attracted to you. Absolutely. If you have financial stability, physical fitness, good theology, Bible knowledge, spiritual disciplines, which I hope all of you do, we all should have those things. There will be women attracted to you. Will it be the woman of your dreams? No. You're gonna need more than that. As sacrilegious as that sounds, you need more than just those things. Because you can attain those things. Think about it. You can attain money. You can get fit. You can be theologically sound. You can know a lot about the Bible. And you can have good spiritual disciplines. You can do all those things and still be missing some things. Have I lost anybody yet? Or does that make sense? Throw me a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Throw me a 2 if we need to discuss it. Because I know there's a lot of, that's kind of a loaded thing. Like, right, if you have a good young adults group leader, he's going to argue with me on that point, right? If there's a good, like, singles ministry director in church, they're going to get uneasy with that statement, right? Which is why I talked with Gian about this. If I ever become a pastor, I'm going to have to delete a lot of things he says. Not a lot of things, but like a few things, right? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Belief number 2, and this is kind of the opposite belief, right? Belief number 1 is kind of the Christian blue pill belief. And then belief number 2 is the Christian red pill kind of belief, right? And they're both false. Have to exude a bad boy persona and become a master of game pickup to really get the attractive ones. Like, yeah, I can get a woman I'm not super excited about, but to get a woman I'm really excited about, I have to like put on this front. I got to learn all of the secrets of the universe and have this kind of hoodoo voodoo game tactics. People who say that is true are always going to sell you some kind of a book or some kind of something on how to do that. I sell you things too, of course, but the things that I sell you are more important in my humble, not so humble opinion. The game and the pickup and the tactics, the pickup lines, all of those things are like kind of cherries on top. Something that I'm going to write about in my flirting basics for the acoustic and restarted. Something we're going to talk about in that post is something that you've heard me say before, which is if the girl is interested in you, it really doesn't matter what your opener is. As long as it's not a direct insult to her mother, you're good. Indirect insult to her mother, it's still fine. Literally. Like if she is interested in you, you really have to try to mess it up. Okay. If she's not interested in you, bro, there is no pickup line you can use that will change that. Nor do you want to try. So the pickup, the game, the tactics, the tricks, all of that is fun to use, honestly, with a girl who already likes you. But if she already likes you for the reasons we're going to discuss later, then those things literally don't really matter. They're just for fun at that point. They're not foundational, if that makes sense. The last one is sort of the Infinity Stone, the kind of the Disney Channel thing that some people believe, some people don't, but this is also false. High quality Christian women won't look at me unless I have a certain level of money, height, and or physique. I've talked to guys all over the spectrum here. I've talked to, and by talked to, I mean literally worked with. I've literally worked with former Olympic athletes. I've literally worked with military officials. I've worked with guys who are 6'5", guys who are 5'4", okay? And everywhere in between. Guys who are really in shape, guys who are really not in shape, guys who are flush with cash, and guys who are down bad with their finances. Women can be attracted to you at any and all of those levels. Is it nice for you to have those things? Sure. Sure, it's nice. But the type of Christian girl that you want can be attracted to a man, theoretically, at any of those levels. Does it vary from girl to girl? Absolutely. You know, certain girls are particular about certain things, but generally speaking, you don't need those things. And to think that you do is going to hold you back, because then your self-worth and your confidence is going to depend on what's my body fat percentage at, what's my bank account at, how big are my biceps, all those kinds of things. And we don't have time for that here at all. Okay. I'm going to blow through this for you guys because everybody on this call, I think, checks out here. Who is this for? Okay, this is for a Bible believing, church attending, Christ following Christian. I would have just said Christian, but that's not enough nowadays. Bible believing, church attending, Christ following Christian. If that's you, you are on the right call. That's what we're about. That is what we're about right here. And Chris, I didn't see your whole comment there because I have a minimized chat bar, but like I see point number 3 and I agree. It's a great point. I think that was Chris. Yeah. So, got to be a real Christian. If you are waiting for marriage, looking for marriage, this is for you. AKA, you're in this for a high quality Christian girl, not a one night stand, not I'm here to mess around and get some validation and feel better about myself and have a person to date indefinitely. That's not what we're about here. If that's what you've been doing, then I guarantee you, I've been encouraging you to stop. If you are tired of feeling like you have to be something you're not to attract the right type of woman, this is for you. The just be yourself advice is cliche for a reason. You should just be yourself. You should always be improving, of course. You should always be growing, but being yourself throughout the process is going to be key for finding the right type of woman for you. All right. Yeah, hopefully no one here falls into these categories at all. But this is who it won't work for. If you are just trying to like black pill yourself into why you can't find anybody, this is not going to make you happy. This is going to give you steps to change. If you don't want to change, this is not for you. Quick hacks or juicy bits of knowledge are not going to be here. And yeah, definitely doesn't apply to anyone on this call. If you want to learn how to seduce women for your own ego validation, which is a big one, or sexual pleasure, then this is not for you. Mainly because what we're about to talk about here, the types of women who fall for that are not going to fall for what we're doing here. It's going to actually repel them in a sense. Okay, this is who we're targeting with this. This is the type of shorty that we're looking for. She has a track record of truly putting God first. A track record. Not, oh, like I got saved last year. Okay, like those girls can be good for some guys, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend them to anybody that is watching this, certainly not live right now. You want to have a girl with a good track record of putting God first. This is a girl who brings peace and positivity wherever she goes. It's like the type of person that she walks in a room and everybody just kind of gets a little happier out of the gate. Number 3, she is highly desired by men, but she refuses to settle. This is the type of girl who has options. She probably could have been married by now, but she does not want to settle, and so she does not settle. Number 4, this girl desires marriage, desires a family, wants to operate the marriage and family with biblical principles. Egalitarianism is not biblical. Hint, hint. Okay, we're not doing that. She's desiring a traditional family structure. You know, not 1950s, but male headship, husband leadership that's been established through culture and scripture for thousands of years, right? Not rocket science. And then number 5, she has a feminine radiance that transcends her outward beauty. Okay, this is the type of girl that just kind of glows a little bit. Some of you will know what I mean by that. She just kind of radiates an energy. Yeah, the kids I think would say aura. The Gen Zs would say aura. She has an aura of feminine glow. right? So a lot of us are concerned about this type of woman, and the good news is this type of woman is actually not going to go for this at all. Shallow women only concerned with money, looks, muscles, and status. We've all run into those. Nominal Christian girls who maybe go to church but don't have a life in alignment with the ways of God. We've all seen those. Women who are not fully trustworthy and honest. We've all seen those. Women with low self-esteem who repeatedly get trapped in bad relationship cycles. We've all seen those. Women with untethered emotional energy, very unstable. Women are all in a healthy feminine. She's going to be dynamic in a sense. Like she's going to have spontaneous swings, ups and downs, but we're not trying to get with a woman who is untethered emotionally, like a kite without a string. That would be a bad thing, right? Any questions on all of that? All right, here we go. Here's the traits, my boys. These are in order of importance. Number 1 is the most important. Number 5 is the least important. They are all very important, but that is the order of importance. The more that you can have of each of these, the better. You're going to be greatly improved at each and every level of these. So, sum up, we've got integrity, momentum, confidence, masculinity, and purpose. Now, if you've done the Ultimate Confidence course or the Masculine Power course or the Goal Setting Mastery course, then you have a good deal of context for all of these things already, numbers 2 through 5. And if you're on this call, you probably already have a good deal of number 1 out of the gate. So there's going to be overlap. You know, these are going to be kind of Venn diagramish in the sense of they're not mutually exclusive. There's going to be overlap with these. Number 1 is integrity. If you want a high quality Christian girl, you have to have integrity. In moments of weakness, high quality Christian girls will sort of window shop men who don't have high integrity. Just like kind of in our moments of weakness, we might take a second glance at a woman who probably isn't worth our time, but we're not going to take them seriously. High quality women are not going to take men seriously who do not have integrity. So we got 2 definitions for integrity here, 1 and 2. Number 1 is more of a moral integrity, steadfast adherence to a strict moral or ethical code. That's moral integrity. Do you have to be right on everything? No. But you do need to be firm on everything, and you need to be doing it with the best of intentions, right? We all have slightly different theology in here, and that's okay. We agree on the important big things. And for the big things and the small things, we need to have steadfast adherence in our personal lives. That's integrity. And it contributes to masculine groundedness that we'll talk about more later with masculinity. Number 2 definition for integrity, the state of being unimpaired and sound. Also tied to alignment with confidence, also tied to groundedness. If you want to attract a high quality Christian girl, you have to be sound and unimpaired internally integrated, having integrity in the inner man. Think about that alignment, congruence of composition. So, like, this is why the order is important, right? If you just have integrity, I mean, that's enough to get like a Christian girl. Will she be one that you're really excited about? Probably not. But you can have really, really good integrity. A lot of nice Christian guys have integrity, honestly. Christian nice guys. A lot of them have integrity. They don't sleep around. They don't cheat. They don't lie. They go to church. They read their Bible. They don't cheat on their taxes. You know, they've got within their zones of work and life, you know, they are integral. You know, they can play pickleball. They can go to the gym. They don't cheat on their taxes. They follow orders at work. Like they're just good citizens. They have integrity. But they may not have momentum. They may not have confidence. They may not be masculine and they may not have purpose. So, number 2, momentum. A common red pill saying is women don't care about the struggle. They wait at the finish line to see who the winners are. Common red pill saying. Has anyone heard that before? Drop a 1 in the chat if you've heard that one before. Very common red pill saying. Okay, That's true. Seeing some ones here. That's true for low quality, shallow women. Absolutely. But it's not true for high quality women with depth and the ability to understand and see nuance. What those women look for, yeah, Andrew Tate says crap like that. Why? Because he wants you to buy the New World course where he teaches you how to make money so that you can have the girls, right? It's all tied together. Think about momentum as the Latin root word motus. So motus is where we get that word momentum. It's the same root word for motor, for movement, for one of my favorite words, motivation, motion, and I could go on. You guys could probably think of other ones. All from the Latin motus. Okay, so momentum is this idea of a man in motion. So things like money and, status and respect and a good body and cars, all those kinds of things can communicate a lot of these things. Depending on who you ask, those things can be symbols of all those things. But they are only symbols. They are only symbols. The symbol of the thing is not the thing itself. And a high quality woman who is walking with the Lord, who is looking for a good, genuine good man, who has her priorities right, she can appreciate those symbols, but she can also see past them to the substance of a man. And she can also see that substance of a man even if he doesn't have those symbols. There is something very romantic that every woman wants. The great philosopher and lyricist Taylor Swift wrote a song about this called Paper Rings. Hopefully, none of you have ever heard of that. But Paper Rings, the idea behind it is I feel like Jason would listen to Taylor Swift in the gym, but Jason's not here, so I'm not going to gossip too much. Anyways, the idea of Paper Rings is that this girl wants to find a man that she would be willing to marry, even if they could only afford paper rings. Even if they could only afford wedding rings made out of paper, she would still want to marry this guy. It's a fantasy. Guys, Taylor Swift doesn't write music for men. She's not a billionaire artist writing music for men. She wrote that song for girls, right? That song is for the girls. Girls want that. They want to find a man that they think is so worth it that they would marry him with paper rings. Okay. But you can't be broke and have no motion. You gotta have some motion, some motus, motor, movement, motivation, momentum. You gotta have some of that Latin motus. You don't need the money, but you need the motion. If you don't have motion, she's going to look at you and say, I don't want to attach myself to him, right? I don't want to be a part of his mission, submission from the Latin meter or mitere, I think. mitre, however the Latins would say it. The mission, the sub to come up under the mission. She will not, a godly Christian woman will not submit to a man who has no evidence of a mission in his life. And that ties to purpose later. But purpose can get kind of abstract and ethereal, and that's good, and we can all be working on that. And it does make the list, but even more important than purpose is momentum, because momentum says I have a target that I'm aiming at and a consistent direction that I'm going with a considerable amount of speed and force. That's momentum. So we got to have momentum. The kind of blue pill Christianese is, hey, if you're attending church and you have a decent job, then and you're not doing any bad sins, like that should be enough. No. No. You can be doing all those things but not have momentum. You can be kind of stagnant with all that. And a lot of us know how that feels. And I've been there before myself, to be stagnant in life and to not feel like you're really moving. just to feel like you're kind of flatlining, like you're just pushing against the flow of the river, right? Because you could argue, well, I have a job I show up to every day. That's momentum. No, it's not, because you got to think about you're going against time, against decay, against entropy. Just because you're pushing forward doesn't mean you have motion, because you're also having resistance coming at you from the front. This is why in the masculinity course, we talk about expansion, we talk about obsession, we talk about being on the vanguard. If we're not proactively pushing forward as men and we're just kind of in the middle, we lose that modus, right? And the women want to see some momentum. Big surprise here, guys. Confidence is one, right? I'm sure you never saw this coming with me. Confidence, for the purposes of this training, will define that as a strong conviction that one's endeavors will be favorable overall, not that everything will be perfect in every single instance, but overall, my endeavors are going to be favorable. And as you guys know, that should come from a groundedness in God, from an alignment to God, from an identity in Christ. That's where that confidence should be coming from. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that you can't find confidence in other ways. You totally can. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not. Because your confidence is only as stable as that which you ground it in. And for those of you who've gone through Ultimate Confidence, or you've gone through my one-on-one, you know what I'm talking about. If I ground my confidence in my money or my physique or my health or my status, then my confidence is only as strong as my money, my physique, my health, my status. And so if and when, not if or when, but if and when those things take a hit, my confidence will take a hit with it. And I will have a midlife crisis and buy a flashy sports car and cheat with my secretary. None of us want that, right? Sorry, it's 2026. Cheat with my administrative assistant, which are still normally female. Okay. Confidence, boys. I'm preaching to the choir, hopefully. Okay. Masculinity. As we kind of come down the list here progressively, it becomes harder and harder to have these, but not these. Like the lower we get down the list, the more momentum, honestly, that we build. Administrative specialists, yeah, that's so true. For the AI spies that are trying to deplatform me in 2027, administrative specialists is what they're called. So here's the thing. If you start to have integrity, if you got integrity on lock, and then we move down to momentum, you've got integrity and momentum. Before you know it, you're going to have confidence. You're going to start seeing God move as you act with obedience, as you step into your calling, whatever that is. You're going to start having more faith that your endeavors are going to be favorable, right? That's going to follow as you have integrity, as you have momentum. And then as confidence starts to build, masculinity stuff is going to start to follow it. And this is assuming that you have decent testosterone levels, which, tossed me out of church for that one. But like, testosterone is very helpful. God created us to have a lot of it. In the modern West, that's really under fire. And it's very hard to have healthy testosterone levels unless you're, living on a farm in a commune. Then it's, nature's going to do what nature's going to do. But for those of us who are inundated with microplastics, the frog water, the birth control in the water, the endocrine disruptors, the blue light, all of the things, the seed oils, we could go on. That testosterone is very important, as you guys know. But as you go down this list and you start to collect these Pokemon, it becomes really, really easy to have the rest. Masculinity is the traits of being a man that transcend culture, age, skills, and status. So, for anyone new here, that's not driving a big truck. That's not even having big muscles. It's not face tattoos. It's not facial hair. It's not money. It's not a high paying job. It's not, it's not a career status, social status. It's not wearing, baggy pump covers. It's also not skin tight t-shirts with graphic designs from 2015. It's none of those things. At some point, all of those things are or have been associated with manhood, manliness, right? In the 1700s, Men were wearing powdered wigs and pantyhose and capri pants. Okay, very different vibe. Like for the founding fathers of this country. Okay, that was what was manly then. All right, it's different now. Masculinity doesn't change. Masculinity does not change over time. For those of you who've done masculine power, or if we've really hit on this in the one-on-ones, you know what masculinity is. It's groundedness, it's consecration, it's obsession, it's challenging, it's initiation. But these are things that you don't have to have a certain job or a certain skill set or a certain marital status to have any of these things. But when you have those things, you attract femininity, because I guarantee you, your Christian dream girl is feminine. She's feminine. And guess what she wants? A masculine man, right? Not rocket science. But there are some guys, believe it or not, who they can have integrity, they can have momentum, they can even have a degree of confidence, but they're still dynamic. They're still a bit stagnant. They're still a bit too focused on people's feelings. They're still a little bit ungrounded, a little bit more focused on peace and passivity and being comfortable where they're at and not stepping into the masculine way that God has created men to have. Any questions or comments on masculinity? Cool. We will wrap up then with purpose. Honestly, guys, if we can have these on lock, integrity, momentum, confidence, masculinity, purpose is gonna kind of take care of itself. If you're really firing on those four cylinders, purpose is gonna evolve over time on its own. But I still included it as a trait because it is kind of its own trait out of all these. But as far as what's gonna develop and in what order, purpose, if you don't have it already before the other four, it's gonna develop as you go. Purpose is the object toward which one strives or for which something exists, an aim or goal. This is usually the most powerful form of purpose. You guys that have done goal setting mastery, you're familiar with vision, strategy, and tactics. So that is my paradigm for what purpose is. Purpose is vision, which is an abstract. It is strategy, which is the how we're going to get to the vision, how we know we're heading the right way. And then it is tactics, which is what are the day-to-day things that we're doing. Tactics are what give you this momentum right here and a little bit of strategy. But connecting vision, strategy, and tactics all together is what makes purpose. Purpose, and again, if you're wrestling with what your purpose is, we can talk about that. Or if you've done one-on-one, then we've probably developed a purpose statement for you to keep handy. All five of these things in a high measure, like 8, 9, 10 out of 10. That is what you need. That is what you need. You don't need anything else. Is it fun to know the game pickup lines and whatever? Sure, it's fun. But you don't need them. If you have these things, you're going to be a dream guy to your dream girl. And then it's a matter of continuing to execute, patience, and being selective, having high standards, staying true to yourself. Thoughts or questions, guys? That's the talk. I've worked on this list for a while, and I know it's a very short list, it's a very simple list. This is what you need. And if you have these things in high enough quantities, you are going to find yourself being able to pick and choose. And instead of feeling like, oh, like, how am I going to find somebody? Like, it's so hard, like in that scarcity mindset, because I've been there before. I know some of you have too. But if you just work on these five, you'll be in a much better position.